go to the doctor's and the receptionist hands you a thick stack of papers asking you for all manner of information, do you fill it out? What if it's a foot doctor who asks whether you have hemorrhoids? What if it's a doctor who asks for your social security number? You do realize that has nothing to do with your medical care, but with the doc's ability to chase you for money if you don't pay, right? We live in a world of forms, and we dutifully comply. But what if we just stopped checking boxes because they're there and started asking why someone needs to know? At the New York Times Room for Debate, an interesting question was raised. Why do we need to designate a gender on a birth certificate? Now, these aren't the kinds of questions that I usually find worthwhile to ponder, but this one struck me as curious. Modesty aside, everyone in the room can tell what standard equipment was issued when you came out of your mother. And it is what it is, with rare exceptions. But that really has little to do with the point of the box, male or female. Who cares? Sure, there are times in the future where gender may matter. Selective service, for example, unless you subscribe to the Bill Murray theory that we should have an all-female army. College dorms is another. But why is it the government's business that gender be announced at birth? For some, this is a big issue, as there are people who wish their gender hadn't been pigeonholed up front. Whether you think this is silly or not isn't the point. The question remains, why is this a necessary question to ask, or at least to ask at birth? My guess is that most forms, birth certificates included, are prepared without giving a whole lot of thought as to what's really needed and why. Or, in the alternative, too much thought, so that it includes information that somebody wants but really has no justification to seek. And we, dutiful people that we are, just fill in forms because, well, they're there. And if we don't, the clerks who collect our forms will demand we fill them in because that's what clerks do. Maybe it's time we stopped being slaves to blank lines and empty checkboxes and started giving a lot of thought to what information others need of us and what information we want them to have. And if it's really none of their business and they really have no good reason to seek our information, maybe it's time to just leave the form blank.